We ain't found Sith.
Warning, the following podcast contains speculation, which may be confused with spoilers, although it may also contain spoilers. You have been warned.
Hello. Welcome to issue 68 of We Ain't Found Sith. I am your host, Eben S. Preston, Esquire, and I am joined by my co-host, Pedro.
Wild Stallion! Woo! Right? Is that what we're doing?
And producer Von Gus.
Yoga Fire.
Greetings, gentlemen.
So, dude.
Oh, man.
Saw that.
We're here to talk about the most bodacious of movies. One of my favorite movie franchises. We're here to talk about Bill and Ted, the franchise, the story, the epicness, the performances at Halloween Horror Nights, just all encompassing, all Bill and Ted all the time. That is tonight's episode. I will review Bill and Ted 3 since my co-hosts have not seen it, and I will be spoiler free. I will not. I won't ruin anything for you guys. And that's pretty much what we're going to be doing tonight. But before we jump into that, big news dropped today. We got a release date for Mandalorian Season 2.
Oh.
Dropping October 30th.
Que rico.
And so for basically, we'll have the entire month of November and December to look forward to in this shitty 2020.
Oh my God. Zach just hit me with the hardest quote of all time, bro. Put that up. Put that up. That's a hard quote, bro. Pedro, if you shit in this, I swear to Prince, I will unmetal you. That's everything. That's all me encompasses.
He will go Magneto on your ass and just pull the metal right out of you.
Just pull it right out of me, bro.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that's referring to, but I like it.
Dude, because you are the metal.
Yeah.
He will.
It's just how it happens.
It's just how it is.
It's just how it goes sometimes, you know.
Yeah. There was some other Star Wars news, but I'm not going to touch on it because we want to keep things positive. And we.
No! I love the negativity when it comes to Disney. Let's go. What happened? What kind of garbage happened?
Well, apparently, John Boyega voiced his displeasure with how they treated his character of Finn in the sequel trilogy. And look, man, it is what it is.
John Boyega. Oh, the black guy. Right. Gotcha.
But that's,
Don't give me that face. Don't give me that face. I didn't remember. I didn't remember the actor.
Look, I don't want to get into like the negative stuff. I want to concentrate on the positive stuff, which is the Mandalorian.
But I agree with him. I agree with him. I think that he was underutilized in the movies. I thought he was a great character, and he was underutilized completely.
Okay. And again, I don't disagree with the sentiment. I just don't want to go there. I want to keep tonight's episode positive because, like I said, we are talking about one of the greatest movie franchises of all time.
Yeah.
At least a seminal franchise in my lifetime. You're
a Seminoles fan?
No, not Seminole. Seminole.
Yeah.
AL.
It's all about the Panthers, bro. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? You got the right sports down?
Yep. You got it. You got it.
So definitely, I'm trying to remember. Like, I know I didn't see it in theaters. I know this was like a home video or cable discovery for me.
What, Bill and Ted or Star Wars?
Yeah, Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted.
Yeah. I want to think it was home video. I don't remember if it was that my sister was visiting and like she rented it or something like that, and then like I was like, oh, cool, this looks interesting. Or I don't know if it was one of those things because we were one of the if you remember Miami in the like late '80s, early '90s, there were these little black boxes that you would have on one of the TVs in your house, and you know,
what was the channel? 99, some shit like that.
I don't know, bro. We're talking about 1989, Well, the movie came out in '89.
No.
Probably would have been about 1990.
No. The channel that was always locked on the black box. It was like 99 or 3 or some bullshit like that. Like
the blurry one.
No. The box always had like a number on it, the little red number, remember? I think it was 99.
The numbers were red, yes.
Yeah.
But there were. I mean, you would put whatever channel you wanted.
Right. But like when it was like idle, it would have a number always on it. I think I remember 03 being like the number always.
I think in this house, when it was not in use, it wasn't plugged in. Because
look at this fancy motherfucker right here, huh?
Although I know it wasn't until later that
Zach, I want to just throw this out here. I miss Zach. Zach, where you been, bro? God damn. Look at these fucking crazy ass comments this homeboy is fucking throwing out. No, the one above it. The one above it. Best friends, married, and metal. That's exactly our relationship. That's exactly how that goes.
There you go. But yeah, I don't. So like I said, I don't remember if it was like a video rental, or if it was like when it got on to like HBO. Because I think back in the day, like there was only like HBO. Cinemax hadn't come along yet. Back in like 1990.
Oh, you mean Skinamax?
that was after 11, and that was Dad's private watching time.
Oh yeah, that quote unquote Dad's, right? I get you. I'm reading what you're.
Although, bro. to be honest, my father was the kind of father where like if I got up to go to the kitchen to like get something to drink and there was like a sexy scene on, my dad would be like, "Wait, I got mira esto." Because that was my dad.
Yeah.
Corrupting youth from the. My dad is the typical Cuban dad that like when there's like a baby around that's like learning how to talk. My dad is the Cuban dad that will like try to teach him how to swear.
Yeah. I don't think that's Cuban. I think that's just Hispanic or not Hispanic, Latin. That's just Latin in general, bro. Because my parents would do the same shit. Or my dad. I wouldn't say my mama did, but my dad did.
But anyways, I digress. We've been dancing around the subject. Ever since I saw the movie, I love the movie. I didn't understand everything that was going on at the time. I'll be honest. And like 1990, when 9-year-old me saw that movie, 9-year-old me did not understand any of the shit that was going on with Missy. Like, I was like, I don't get it. Like, I didn't understand that it was like the fact that like this girl that's like just barely older than they were was married to his dad. Like all that shit went like right over my head. You know, and not to mention like Bill's dad is like fucking creepo, like kicking his son out of his own room to like make out and have sex with his wife on his son's bed. Like,
I don't remember that movie that well.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
I don't remember that shit, bro.
I rewatched it recently, and yeah, that happens.
I gotta rewatch that movie. I remember as a kid, I fucking loved those movies, bro. I fucking
in fact,
the second one not so much, bro. That shit scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Remember that shit?
The big giant Satan?
Bro, no, fuck that. That shit was baby. That was shit, baby shit. Is when they went into that weird room with the Easter Bunny and shit. Remember
Grandma and the Easter Bunny?
Whoa, that shit gave me nightmares, bro. Fuck that. Oh, your boy Chris is in.
Oh, but no, man. Like the rabbit was kind of creepy, but Grandma was fucking with the hairs. But
I'm not saying that.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So part one, you know, our heroes are flunking history, and immediately right off the bat, like what I realized on this rewatch, for two guys that are failing history, their vocabulary is stellar. Like they may be flunking history, but they must be getting A's in literature and English and shit. Like they can speak very, very eloquently. Like they're not like for two guys that appear to be surfer bums. Like they are super intelligent. Like when it comes to communication. But movies, the fucking those two. I mean, right off the bat, the two characters are so endearing. You know, you can't help but kind of love them. The whole thing, the intro with them in the garage. The we need to get Eddie Van Halen as a guitarist, and in order to do that, we need to make a video, but we can't really make the video because we kind of suck. They're like, but that's why we need Eddie Van Halen. Like the circle logic that follows through all the movies.
Yes, that's my favorite part.
Yeah,
That's not the Eddie Van Halen part. I'm talking about just the circular logic.
The circular logic.
Yeah, it's like, like what's wrong with you guys?
Not to
That's the
mention,
feeling that I get watching that movie. I just constantly telling myself, "What's wrong with you guys?" You know what I mean?
not to mention, like I think some of the best time travel rules of all time. With like, if we think about doing this, it instantly happens because we did it. We just got to remember to go do it, or otherwise it won't happen. You know, it's like well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That's how time travel would work. Is that like it's like I always remember there was an episode of Tiny Toons where
Yeah.
Plucky decides that he's gonna make a time machine, and so like he starts like working on the time machine, and immediately future Plucky shows up with like, we did it, we built the time machine, and like I came back to this moment to show you that we did it. And he's like, all right, cool. And then he steals the time machine from himself. And I'm always like, well, yeah, that circular time travel, that's how it would work. Except that if you don't actually go back and then create the time machine, you will never come back and give yourself the time machine. It's like, it's a weird thing. But I mean, the movie's just full of little shit like that. That's awesome. And then obviously, you know, the historical figures wrecking them all. Genghis Khan with the aluminum baseball bat, and freaking Joan of Arc takes over the
Honestly, that's what I remember most from that movie is just the historical figures running amok.
Yeah.
I don't
And
really
it's
remember
literally
much
like the
else.
last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, and then, you know, and this is great. This is great stuff all over. George Carlin is awesome. Just like I like the future better in the first movie than in the second. In the second, it got weird with all those like weird like neon color foam clothing pieces and shit like that. But yeah, man, like I don't know, bro. It's like it's hard to talk about it without like getting like wrapped up in like the nostalgia for it. But then it's also like it's not the greatest movie ever. So it's like
you take that fucking shit
it's not like
back.
the plot's gonna make you super like puzzle. It's like it's not Inception.
Oh, you take that back. You take that back. This is the greatest movie ever made.
No, I'm not gonna take that back.
Take it back. It's the greatest movie ever made.
It's still one of my favorite movies, but it's still not one of the greatest movies ever
It's
made.
better. All right. Better than Endgame? Yep. I said it. Yep. Better than
know, man.
Endgame. Better than Endgame. Endgame was trash.
Certainly more quotable.
See? Told you. I just said it.
You know.
I'm looking at Gus. Gus agrees.
Speaking of Endgame, are we gonna touch on the sad news of the week, bro?
You know, we posted about it on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, I think we.
I feel like if we were gonna do it, I feel like we should have done it before the show started.
Okay, maybe we can do it at the very end.
Yeah, I mean, look, at this point, everybody knows already. I don't want to bring the show down.
Alrighty.
You know.
Well, then they'll make it about something negative. Okay, this guy, what a fucking champion, all right? This guy made a movie while going through chemotherapy, fucking went to hospitals and seeing kids who are in the same condition as him and bringing light to their lives. You know what I mean? Talk about an actual hero. You know what I'm talking about? Like, this guy, like, is the embodiment of a hero. He did everything that a good person could and should do. You know what I'm saying? Like, what a role model. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? This guy, and on top of that, he nailed it in his roles. I haven't seen his other movies, but I've seen Black Panther, and he I'm not a greatest fan of that movie, but I can't knock his performance in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did a great job in that movie. On top of the accent, he killed that accent. Like, I thought he was actually from Africa. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, I thought he was an African man.
Dude,
but
I loved when he did that character, but in on SNL for Black
I saw,
Jeopardy.
yeah.
Yeah,
That was great.
The Jeopardy sketch was
Yeah.
awesome. But there is one thing though that I mean, look, I hope that if I ever am facing anything like that, that I would have the stoicism to face it that way.
Hell yeah, man.
Oh yeah, dude.
You know,
That's a superpower, bro. What he like, and no one knew. You know what I mean? He fucked up that shit to himself.
no one outside his family apparently.
Yeah,
Only his
he
family
didn't
was
make
aware.
it. He didn't make it about that. You know,
and-
he
and
didn't make his life
obviously-
about that. You know?
And obviously, I'm sure that the director knew. Like I know that he was making that movie with Spike Lee. I'm sure Spike Lee knew, but you know, I'm sure he voiced to Spike Lee how adamant he was. Like, you know, please don't talk about it. Don't make it public, because obviously, if you're making a movie, one of the things they don't talk about, but when you're making a movie, you have to basically be cleared by an insurance company. Like you have to be insured because if anything happens to you, that's an entire production that's getting shut down and stuff like that. So there had to have been some sort of like knowledge of it in the industry. The fact that everybody kept it quiet, like, because I mean, come on, it only takes one blabbermouth insurance agent to be like, "Oh yeah, we checked him out for this movie, and you know he's going through chemotherapy," and all of a sudden, like, it would have been out all over the place.
Yeah.
The fact that those people kept that secret, like, kudos to them. You know, the fact that, and especially because, like, come on, nowadays, like, every single person out there, every single person in Hollywood, if they were diagnosed, would be out there immediately with some sort of charitable foundation trying to like raise money and using their illness to try to raise money and stuff like that. He didn't capitalize on that. He didn't take advantage of that.
Yeah, he found the bigger picture. It's more about him, not the disease. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how he goes down. It wasn't his life wasn't like how do you say, like, it wasn't overcasted by this tragedy. You know what I mean? He lived his life, and it wasn't about that. You know what I mean? It's about him, which is more important. I didn't use the right words because I can't think right now, but you know what I was trying to say.
I get you, bro.
Yeah, and look, man, like, I'm just sad of all the stuff that we're not gonna get to see. And I don't just mean Black Panther 2. Obviously, I'm sure we're gonna get some form of a Black Panther 2. You know, that franchise is way too important to not make another one.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that, like, man, he made some great fucking movies, you know, and he was a really good fucking actor. And the fact that we're not going to get to see anything else from him is just sad.
Yeah,
man.
You know, because they didn't take a shitty actor. You know,
we can't look at it in a negative way. We got to say, thank God we got to see him portray that role. You know what I mean? Thank God we got that. You know what I mean? Because we didn't need that, but we got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got that. We got the movie that he gave us. So thank God for that. You know what I mean? Not oh, too bad we can't see that in the future. We got it already. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to. We don't necessarily need more. So I don't know, man. That whole story, when it broke out, I was like, man, kudos to that guy. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know about you guys. I was floored.
Me too. I didn't believe it. I was like, no, how old is this guy? This guy's mad young. You know what I mean? But you know,
I mean, I think it hit me as hard, if not harder, than Kobe. And with Kobe, you go, well, but you know, that was an accident, and accidents happen, and an accident can happen to anybody. But you know, I mean, I'm 39. I'm about to be 40 in less than a year. My father is a colon cancer survivor. So which means that I've got a genetic predisposition already. And this guy, I mean, he's 43. He's 4 years older than me. Like, and he'd been battling it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I know, and what sucks is, like, I know, like, insurance companies now, like, they won't cover it until you're 50. But I'm gonna have to get myself checked out. I mean, you guys are still a couple of years away from 40, but I'm like I said, I'm turning 40 next year. I'm gonna have to go in and get that, and I'm gonna have to probably you know knock on wood.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Yep.
But
yeah, man. Let's end on a positive note, though. So, like, kudos to like the fucking strength that he had for fucking putting up, dealing with it like a personal problem, not making it public, and on top of that, bringing so much light to kids who needed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that shit is super fucking powerful.
That's one thing that I will say about all the guys in the Marvel movies and all that, like all the guys and Scarlett Johansson and the girls too. They, when it comes to children's charities, like, I think of a few years back. I think of the Chris Pratt and Chris Evans. The whole they made the Super Bowl bet, and then even though the Patriots won or whatever. Wait, was the Patriots won or Seahawks that won? Patriots won, right?
Patriots beat the Seahawks, yeah.
Yeah. Chris, held up his end of the deal and went to New England to go to the kids' hospital in full costume. And then Chris Evans was like, "All right, and now we'll go to Seattle and we'll go to the Seattle hospital too." So those guys, when it comes to that, like, those guys are always like at the top of their game and stuff like that. So I give them kudos to that, and he was no different. But man, I mean, like, it's really hard when the person that passes is close to your own age and they pass of natural causes. That's that's kind of scary. That's kind of and enough dwelling on that. Let's get back to Bill and Ted. Because it's supposed to be a fun episode tonight.
We were still talking about the first one. We were talking about
we were talking about the first one. Okay, so obviously, just look. There are little things that I watched it last week, and there are little things that just stick out that I didn't notice before. I love just little quotes here and there, dude, things are afoot at the Circle K.
That seems to be something that happens with a lot of shit that you watch when you're younger. Like when you grow up and you watch it again, you always catch those little things that aren't for kids.
That you didn't understand as a kid because you had no point of reference.
Exactly.
Bro, tell me about it, bro. My entire childhood I was listening to Prince. And then I grow up. And boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy.
Well, that's what that means.
Darling Nikki is about what you say? Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What's funny is when you catch that stuff in cartoon movies. Every once in a while, you'll be watching an animated movie and you'll get a joke to be like, what?
Yeah, you'll be like, I didn't catch that before.
How did this make it into a kid's movie?
Yep.
Especially anything like Aladdin and Robin Williams.
You have to make it
some of the shit Robin Williams does in Aladdin. Like if you were a kid,
yeah.
But as an adult, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, Bill and Ted. So the simple premise, right? Two guys that supposedly in the future they wind up, changing the world for the better. They're about to be flunked out of history class. And Ted's dad wants to ship him off to military school. And if that happens, then they split up. They never form their band, and the future doesn't happen. So George Carlin, who plays a character by the name of Rufus, comes back and gives them this time-traveling phone booth that allows them to travel the circuits of time in order to go anywhere they want. And just the fact that it's you got to dial in the number for where you want to go, and the entire guide is in this phone book. Here are all the points that you can visit in time. It's hilarious.
Is it like a Yellow Pages or?
It's a Yellow Pages.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
It's like a typical phone booth. Like if you remember, you would go into a phone booth, and underneath the phone would be hanging this black binder that had a Yellow Pages inside, so that you could look up a phone number and call it.
Yep.
That's essentially what it is, except all the numbers are points in time. Gus, memories, anything that stands out in this movie?
I mean, I already said what I remember most is just the historical figures
In the
running
mall.
amok. Yeah.
Pedro?
I don't remember if they have to like round them up eventually. Do they?
Yeah,
they gotta. Well, they have them wait for them at the mall, but then of course they get into trouble. They wind up getting arrested, and then they gotta break them out of prison, which is where they introduce like the. All right, dude. If we go and we steal your dad's keys, and then we hide them underneath this rock, then they'll be waiting here for us. And then they go and they check under the rock, and there are the keys. Like, all right, I did take my dad's keys. Like, and just little things like that. Like, but we got to remember to do it, or else it won't happen. Yeah. Pedro, for you, memories that stand out?
Man, just the movie as a whole, bro. The movie was like a good representation of the time, bro. That was like, if you want to, you don't know how it was back in the late 80s and the early 90s, watch Bill and Ted. That's pretty much how it went down. Like, you got from the attire, fucking, what is it? Bill's or Ted's shirt is like one of those little crop tops that's his whole midriff showing.
That's Bill.
That's Bill. He has his whole midriff showing. The fucking shorts.
Short shirt with the ripped jeans. He wears a flannel shirt that sometimes he wears it and sometimes he ties it around his waist. And then Ted wears like these long baggy shorts with like a white t-shirt and a black vest. And then he has like an orange denim jacket.
He has shorts and then a cut sweat shorts under or sweatpants cut down to shorts like underneath his shorts, which is the most 90s thing I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. And then he has a plaid shirt tied around his waist, a t-shirt with a happy face on it. He has that silky Keanu Reeves hairstyle. And then he has like another coat over his shirt, right? He has like a shirt over his shirt.
Yeah, he's got like
that boy is about layers, mom. You know what I'm saying?
It's like it looks like a pinkish orange denim shirt. But it's not a shirt with a happy face on it. He's got a shirt. It's like a band shirt.
Hold on, I gotta look up a picture. I remember a happy face though. Oh no! Part one, he has a white t-shirt and a vest.
He's got I think like a happy face like on his shorts.
Is it on his shorts?
Like a little happy face symbol, like a patch.
Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's the details. Who gives a shit? But one of the movies, he had like a yellow shirt. I remember. I think it was the second one. Then the second one, I'm not sure. It doesn't fucking matter. It's just the fucking style that they were rocking was like, woo wee. There's just a lot of shit going on in that shit. I don't know, man. I like the whole like theme of the movie, like the 80s and 90s. It was just like a time capsule in one, just like everything that was hip during those times. It was like that surfer talk, skater talk, stoner type. It was just like that was what the kids. That's what the kids were doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was just like, I don't know. I just like that whole thing, and that it was like that high school movie where they just want to pass their class, and it's just the whole movie's about them passing a history class with that's like the plot. Like,
so they were supposed to like do a presentation on like what they think like the figures of the past would think of like modern day San Dimas. Which, by the way, fucking great fucking name, San Dimas. San Dimas High School football rules. But like, yeah, like it's a totally like yeah, it is a perfect time capsule of that late 80s, early 90s vibe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not to mention like look, man, this movie became such a cultural phenomenon that like it would literally inspire real life. Like there were people in like parts of the country that just started talking like Bill and Ted.
I think it's the opposite. Well, yeah. People that weren't from California started talking like them because it was so cool. But I think California, that's just how it was. And they were imitating, what was going on in California.
Yeah. But
I remember.
Well, and not to mention, it's one of, I think like I want to say Ninja Turtles is where the whole like surfer speak started kind of becoming commonplace. Like, as I know, Ninja Turtles taught us like tubular and
Okay, so in the
cowabunga.
in the 80s and the 90s, it was like after a movie. I forget the name of the movie. Longest Summer, I think it's called. It's a documentary. That documentary was, I don't know if that's the name, but it was a
Endless
surf.
Summer.
Endless Summer, I think it was.
One that's
called.
about the surfers, like
That's it.
and they travel around the world.
That's it. That was like a huge documentary for its time, and after that, surfing became commonplace. Like it was just popular.
Well, surfing has had like peaks and valleys,
Right?
Because in the '60s, surfing was huge, also.
Right. That's when that movie was made. After that movie was made, it was like super popular, and it stayed super popular all the way through. And like during the 80s and 90s, cool, quote unquote, was the surfer guys, the skater guys, because they spoke cool or whatever. You know what I mean? They were the underdogs or whatever. And that's why you have like the Ninja Turtles, the coolest character, which would be Mikey, just by personality. He was like the fun one, and he was the surfer type. You know, that was just like it was a brand. You're cool, you're hip, and you're fun, surfer, and that's how you talk.
Okay.
You think of that movie?
I need to challenge your theory on that, though. Because I just looked it up, and Endless Summer was made in 1966. Endless Summer 2 was not made until 1994.
Right. Okay.
So I think we're talking about, it's definitely a culture that was big in California, but I don't think Endless Summer is the reason why it started making a comeback.
Okay, I disagree. But then fucking they have fuck. See, you knocked me off my tracks, bro. You took the winds out of my sails, bro.
Hey, man, I'm calling it like I see it.
Right. Well, I don't know where to go with that. So here you go. Pass it on.
I'm gonna say, like, as far as I can remember, I want to say maybe it was Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Right, but that came from the surfer, the Endless Summer movie.
No, that Endless Summer was a documentary, as you said.
Right.
But Fast Times at Ridgemont High, they introduced the character of Spicoli, played by Sean Penn, who was that like surfer dude.
Right.
And I think that character got so popular that I think that's what kind of maybe created some of this coming back.
The only reason why, this is my theory again, because whatever. The only reason why he was made to be cool or whatever is because of Endless Summer. Just like in the 90s, fucking you have like movies like Brink from Disney, which is a rollerblading one. You have Tsunami, whatever, which is a surfing one. All that came from the video game Tony Hawk Pro Skater, which made a comeback to skateboarding. Tony Hawk made skateboarding cool again, so skateboard lingo started becoming cool again. A lot more people were doing skateboard stuff. The cool characters in movies were skateboarders. You know, it's all like a resurgence of everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think it came from. So like the 60s, it was that movie, and that movie was huge for a documentary. That shows like you see any movie and you'll see that poster somewhere in a movie. It's like super popular.
Well, I know. You know what? The skateboarding thing makes a lot of sense, because I know that the early skateboarders were very much coming out of the West Coast and like that whole surf vibe, where it was like, yeah, you can't go ride a wave because maybe the waves weren't kicking, but you could ride your board,
right?
You know, and I know that like those early like guys, like especially like there's a great documentary called Dogtown and Z-Boys.
Yep.
Which is all about that, and like and those guys, and like how they basically in California started to kind of revolutionize the skateboarding game, you know. And then Tony Hawk obviously was like very heavily influenced.
It was the resurgence, right? Yeah. Dogtown and Z-Boys was in the 80s. That shit kind of died off in the late 80s, in the mid 80s, and then it came all back super strong. Same thing with comic books. It's the same shit with comic books. What brought back comic books? It was the fucking pouches. The pouch characters. Fucking, that's what brought comic books back in
the 90s. Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee.
Exactly. And then there was like a death of comic books after Watchmen and all those other books came out in the late 80s.
The reason there was a death of comic books is that, so in the 1990s is when we first start getting like, oh, this first edition Superman Action Comics sold for thousands of dollars.
Right. It was the
And that's
collecting
when
thing.
people started going like, wait a minute, all my old issues were like, if I would have kept them nicely, would be worth money today. Not realizing that A, no, not all of your old issues, just certain specific ones. And B, the comics industry was like, oh, we got to take advantage of this. And so they started releasing a ton of number ones. And unfortunately, it's one of those things where like business boomed because a lot of speculators entered the market.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they thought were like real sales to real fans were just people were buying like multiple issues of issue ones because they were like, I'm gonna buy this, and then in the future I'm gonna be able to pay for my kids' college. And it's like, oh no, sorry, dude, it doesn't work that way. Like it's all based on rarity, and they were cranking out so many copies that like it just didn't happen. But we're changing subjects and getting completely way off topic, which I know we don't do normally, but
no, but it's fine. It's interesting.
Yeah. But anyways, Bill and Ted enter the lexicon and become pop culture icons pretty much immediately. We start getting all kinds of Bill and Ted stuff all over the place. And they decide, you know what, we need to capitalize on this. Let's make a sequel. And so 1991, what was supposed to originally be Bill and Ted Go to Hell. Well, they can't market that in 1991. We can't say Bill and Ted Go to Hell. Like, there's no way with it. Like, the movie theaters will like allow us to screen that. So we get Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, in which a rebel faction of the future sends two evil robot Bill and Teds to the past to kill Bill and Ted. And it's just, man,
it's like Terminator.
Yeah, but it's just it is another fun movie. I love Death. Like, Death is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I love just like the little shit here and there, like Ghost Bill and Ted. And to this day I still don't know, because they won't say it. They'll say they planned it. When we get to the movie, Missy has apparently divorced Bill's dad and is now married to Ted's dad. And I'm watching the movie and they don't really make a big deal out of it, other than to say that like Bill saying like, dude, that's your mom to Ted, and I'm like, wait a minute, that was Bill's mom last movie. And they didn't really like go back to it, which makes me wonder, like, well, was it just that maybe Bill's dad, the actor, wasn't available, so they decided, all right, well, we're just gonna have her be married to Ted's dad? Or was it just like seriously like, well, we want to bring this actress back because she's hot, and we don't really care about the other guy, so just make it so like the story of why Missy has married Ted's dad in the sequel. We don't know what happened. I don't think we'll ever know what happened, other than it happened. And then ultimately, she's the one responsible for sending them to hell because, they try to like get a message to her that like they've been killed, and she thinks they're being haunted by evil spirits. And it has one of my favorite scenes in the movie ever, which is the eternal fall into the pit of hell, where they're just screaming their heads off and eventually just stop. It's like, dude, this is a deep hole.
All right.
But what did you guys think of the sequel? Like, what stands out? What did you like? What did you not like?
For me, it was just not that it was darker, like if I'm watching The Dark Knight or some shit like that, but visually it was darker because obviously they go to hell.
Oh, I mean, they go to hell. Also, when they're dead, they're in black and white.
Oh, see, that's something that I didn't even remember, but maybe subconsciously I remember some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Like the ghost versions of themselves are black and white.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
But we get some great stuff. Like I said, they get introduced to Death, who played by William Sadler, who is just he plays the character perfectly. He's got like a dry, sardonic comedy delivery, and like you could tell that he's being annoyed by them, but at the same time, he's just happy to be interacting with people. And then of course, they go to heaven, where everything is apparently like a shade of like lilac or violet, and then like they get to meet Station, which is just hilarious. Like these two little furry alien dudes. Like, what, you thought that the most intelligent minds in the universe would come from Earth? Like, and then of course they do that whole like fusion thing.
What fusion? I don't remember that. What's that?
You don't remember the fusion?
No.
When they're in the parking lot of the hardware store, and they're like, Station, do you think you can be able to like get these built like in time? And so like they walk away and like they look at each other, and then like they run into each other and just turn into like a big old like mass of goo.
Oh no.
And then all of a sudden emerges like a giant Station.
No, I don't remember that. That's
weird. Man. That shit was awesome when I was a kid. It's like, holy shit. And again, 1991, I'm 10 years old.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like I don't know anything about special effects, but that looked cool to me. How about you, Pedro? The sequel, anything? I mean, we already talked about the grandma and the bunny.
As a film, I thought it was a lot more interesting than the first one. I have more fun with the first one. The first one's a lot more lighthearted and fun, but the second one actually makes you think a lot more. You know, what's right, what's wrong. You see a different dynamic of these characters, because so far these characters are just like, whoa, I'm kind of clueless but smart at the same time. Whoa, you know what I mean? But at this second one, you have the whole them trying to figure out how to beat their bad selves. Like they have like that conflict of how to beat themselves, which is an interesting man versus himself. And
it's also man versus machine, because they're robots.
They're robots, yeah, but it's still like they know what they're thinking. You know, that's the whole point. So it's like, and then on top of that, they have those two gods, which are like little fucking weird creature things with their asses out. Stations, right? Well, that's right. He splits into two. It's only one station, but he splits into two.
No, he's two, and then he becomes one.
Oh, okay. So it's the opposite. Yeah, it's been a while since I saw it, but see, that was a cool dynamic too, because now it's like, oh, this thing that doesn't even talk is like the smartest being in the fucking universe, and he can create anything out of garbage. And I don't know. It's just more interesting.
He only says the one word.
Station.
Yeah.
And then the layers of hell, which is like a mythology all in its own, which is interesting that they like brought that mythology into the different stages of hell, and reflecting on their inner self. Like I said, the second movie is a lot more interesting, but it's not as fun as the first one. But it's a fuck ton more interesting.
It's the first recollection that I can think of. I'm trying to think if there was anything earlier that played it that way or not, where hell is represented as like essentially you reliving like your worst memories.
Right.
Because I know
in some mythologies, I think there's a layer in the underworld, not in hell, but in the underworld in Greek mythology, in which it's very cold, which they did that in the movie. It's not hot. Hell isn't hot.
What are you talking about? They're literally in a fire pit.
I remember it being cold. Well, at least remember, this has been a while, but I remember the scene being blue lights.
When they get into like the central hub, it becomes
right. But that's the section I'm talking
about. Like that.
Right, that's the section that I'm talking about. Is where that is a like a layer of the underworld in which you just live your worst moments of your life, and that's pretty much what they did with that.
I always find it funny or interesting, or when some of these lighthearted movies or movies that are supposed to be silly, like mirror actual like philosophy. Like
yeah,
like
that's what
shit with having layers is like Dante's Inferno. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And like I said, as far as I know, it's the first representation I can remember in my lifetime where that's their version of hell, right? Because when you're a kid, you're like, oh hell, you go there and you burn forever, and you imagine like a fiery pit where you're literally like burning.
Right. That's like
but this is like no, it's like you're there and like every door they go into is like a representation of like a bad memory.
Exactly.
Or like a nightmare or something like that.
Yeah, you're just reliving pain all the time. And that's what the underworld in Greek mythology was. It wasn't hot. You're not tortured by it. You're just uncomfortable. Cold is uncomfortable. Heat isn't as uncomfortable as cold. So it's cold and you're just reliving horrible events, which I think is great.
But I know definitely when they go to hell, like it is a burning orange. It is a fiery hell that's represented.
Right, but
they're on that rock and they get pulled in towards where Satan is. Which I love that they don't say Satan. They just like it's a giant, huge demonic Satan figure, and they're like, and Ted's like, "Who's that?" And Bill's like, "Dude, who do you think that is?" Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that I don't know. That's what I fucking loved about that movie. Again, don't think it's more entertaining than the first one, but I do think it's a hell of a lot better written than the first one. The second one is
it definitely does some more exploration.
Right.
Then obviously they save the day.
Also, the personality of death, which is in Greek mythology, Thanatos is the god of death. It's the Grim Reaper in our standards in Catholicism. So the Grim Reaper in Greek mythology is Thanatos, and that's where they got that image for him, the cloak and the sickle. That's from Thanatos. And Thanatos is supposed to be not like his personality isn't like evil or whatever. He's just kind of like.
I mean, look, the Grim Reaper's never been evil.
Well, I mean, every time you see him as a skull. You see him as something scary. But in this one, they didn't make him a skull. They made him some fucking little dweeby dude, and I fucking love that.
But that's the thing. Like whenever I've seen death done well, it's always like death is not a bad guy. Death is just death, right? Like he's there because it's your time to go. He's not there to kill you. Like that's not his job. He's just there to to make sure that like you make the transition.
I'm trying to make a comparison of like the level. Usually Death is the cooler character because he's like he has so much power. He's on the for film nerds. He's the top left corner of the screen. So he's
which this character has. This character has the ability to bring people to and back to life.
Right. But I like that in this movie, he's like out-cooled by these two surfer dweebs, you know what I mean? And like he becomes the nerd, like,
and then of course they beat him in every single board game.
Exactly. That's what I think is fun. So much so that when I was in college, I wrote a comic book called Fatty and Turd, and one of the characters was the Grim Reaper, but I made his personality that he was a germaphobe, antisocial, and paranoid. So like the Grim Reaper couldn't kill anybody because he didn't want to touch anybody because he was a germaphobe, and he didn't like talk to other people because he thought he was too much of a nerd. So he would like go out and try to make other people do his bidding. You know what I mean? Which is the Angels of Death, and that's where all that shit comes from. But I thought that shit was cool. That like this movie. This is me rewatching it. When I was a kid, I thought that guy was terrifying. But me rewatching it when I was older, I was like, dude, I love the fact that they made death not as serious as, you know what I mean? Like as other movies would make them. Because like you look at Lucifer, for example, Lucifer is well spoken, he's all cool and all this fucking shit. And then you see this death and he's kind of like a dweeb. I love that.
Which, by the way, Lucifer does a good job of hell also. Like there's been a couple of the TV show. Like there's been a couple of times where like the show has gone to like hell to like show you what's going on, and it is another one of those things where it's like you're basically reliving like your worst day, and like it happens over and over and over and over again, like nonstop.
Yeah.
And every time it happens, you don't remember what happened the previous time and all that. Like, so it's definitely it is one of those things. Preacher did that too, the TV series. I don't know if the comic books did that, but one of the main characters in Preacher, when he goes to hell, is essentially reliving his worst day over and over and over again.
Dude, you know what's the coolest part about Preacher? I don't know if you read the comic. I don't even know if they did this in the show, but the I don't know what I forget the name of the character. It was that evil cowboy guy who like kills
The Saint of All Killers.
Saint of All Killers. That guy is the coolest character ever written, bro. It's such a cool character. He kills like the Angel of Death and melts his fucking swords into his pistols so he could shoot people with the. That's so cool, bro. Shooting down tanks and shit with pistols. Crazy.
That's pretty hardcore.
It's fucking hardcore. Yo, there was a line in that fucking book where he says he was so evil he froze hell over, bro.
Anyways, so we're approaching 50 minutes. We're almost at the hour mark here. So I did get to see Bill and Ted 3 over the weekend. Went over to a buddy's house. We did some social distance watching, and split it. It was $20 on Amazon. So we split it 3 ways, and it is a most enjoyable movie. It is something I desperately needed in 2020.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's the greatest movie ever made.
Go ahead and say it. It's the greatest movie of all time, baby.
But it was definitely something that we needed in this year that's been so shitty so far. I left the house happy. Like I was very happy to have seen the movie. It is very predictable if you're like us and you know movies very well. Like you can from the moment things start happening, you kind of see where things are going. But it's still very enjoyable. The daughters, if you remember, at the end of Bill and Ted 2, they introduced us to Little Bill and Little Ted. Well, it turns out Little Bill and Little Ted were actually girls. It's Billy and Thea, Billy Logan, and Theodora Preston. Because of course, they're best friends. They would name their kids after each other. And Billy and Thea, they're not musicians per se, but they are very aware of. They're basically DJs, Gus. So you would love that aspect because they know all about all kinds of weird cuts and obscure moments in music and all of that. Mm-hmm. And they're very much into the putting music together. And they're also their dad's biggest fans. And the girl that plays Billy, who plays Keanu's daughter,
okay, the dark hair
is literally channeling Keanu.
Oh yeah,
the way she plays that character, it's like watching a young Keanu Reeves. And I was like, man, she is it is a spot on of her own father, which is pretty damn dope.
Wait.
She's a good actress. I watched this show on Netflix called Atypical, where she plays the big sister of she actually plays the younger sister of a kid that has autism. But when you have a sibling that has autism, you tend to be like the older sibling, even if you're younger than them. You're helping them out or whatever. She does a good job.
Yeah, I know that the Theodora is Samara Weaving, although I don't know what I know her from. I know I've seen her in something. I just can't at this point. I can't remember what it was.
She's the blonde one, right?
Yeah, she's the blonde one. And then the other girl is her name is Bridget Lundy Payne, and yeah, she is an Atypical. Mm-hmm. She's done a couple of other things. She doesn't have a huge resume yet. But man, both of them do this really great thing where they are just like their dads. They are that whoa and all that energy, but at the same time they're also very intelligent and super knowledgeable about things. So it's a nice little dichotomy. Let's just say I don't think they would have any trouble passing history class.
Okay.
And then just little things that get done throughout the movie. Obviously George Carlin can't come back because George Carlin's passed. But he was there in hologram form. Because when they go to the future, there is a little thing where the phone booth is, and then George Carlin pops out and he's like, "Hi, greetings, friends. This is the original phone booth in which Bill and Ted went back in time in order, and then they walk past him and all that." Which I'm sure they did with a library sounds they had from the previous movies and stuff like that.
Also,
they brought back Tupac.
Also, side note, talk about the most 90s fucking thing of all time. These two skate bros saved the universe by making the dopest song ever. That's like the most 90s thing I've ever heard in my entire life. They played the fucking they shredded the solo of life, bro.
But man, it's the most enjoyable film.
I was actually gonna buy that shit, but when I saw that it's $20, I'm like, man, that's more expensive than going to the movies itself.
So I know with Amazon, they're actually doing it as a pre-sale, and so I think what they're doing on Amazon is you buy it, and you can watch it like they give you 2 days to watch it, but then when it comes out, I think they give you the digital download. Or they add it to your library, or however that works with digital version. We did. I think we did the rental, and then we split it. Between the three of us that were there watching it. So in the end, if you were by yourself, it's more expensive than a movie ticket. But because we weren't by ourselves, actually was
right,
yeah,
it's actually cheaper for families. Like if you're going with your kids to watch that shit.
And that's the thing, right? Like, yeah, I understand. Like, if you live by yourself, $20 seems like a lot to spend on it. But at the same time, it's like, think of it this way: like, movie tickets now are like $11 here in Miami, and then if you go get a soda, that's gonna be like another $5 on top of that. Or if you get like a soda popcorn combo, that's usually like another $10. Like, so I mean, yeah, but you're not going to the movies, but you may, like, if you're like me and you're gonna go to the movie, you're gonna see the movie, you're not gonna buy anything, then yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be just like that. But if I like going to AMC Tamiami, and I've been known to go to AMC Tamiami and buy myself like a beer, and I'll drop $7-8 on a beer. So between that and like $20 is about what I would have spent anyway.
Yeah.
But because I split it with friends and all of that, like, I paid $7 to watch the movie essentially, and it was a good time. And it's not a long movie. The movie's like an hour and a half long, which I love because I remember as a kid,
short by today's standards, man.
It's short by today's standard, but it's as long as it needed to be. Like, that movie did not need to be a 2-hour movie.
No,
movies should be going back to that formula, bro. Movies
especially
today are
for like a buddy comedy.
No, not even just in general, bro. Because like a lot of these movies, there's a lot of like downtime for no reason. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Well, there's a lot. I mean, and look, for people who are into cinematography and shit, like, I know they love a lot of this shit. But sometimes I don't need like a minute-long panning shot of like an area when like the area is not really like super important to the story. Like, if you want to give me like a 30-second aerial view of like an area that's gonna be a battlefield, so that I know in the future when the battle's happening, like where it's happening, I'm totally down for that. But sometimes you get a director who just wants to like focus on something for like a minute, and you're like, what was the purpose of that shot? Like, there was that we never came back to that. There was never anything else done with that. Like it was just like the director showing like, look how beautiful this looks. You know, and sometimes just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And I get that a lot. I hate that a lot with TV series. Like, sometimes you're watching a TV series and like you'll get something like that where it's like this long establishing shot, and you're like, dude, this is a TV show. Like, I understand that by not being on TV, where you only get 43 minutes, and being on like HBO or a streaming service where you can use your full like 50-something minutes or whatever, but you don't need to spend those extra minutes just showing me something. I like when there's characters, and I like when there's story going on.
Yeah, at that point, you just got to read the room. You know what I mean? If your movie isn't supposed to win awards and it's just supposed to make people feel good, you don't need all that crazy shit. And again, who am I to tell an artist what to do? You know what I'm saying? Let them do them.
Well, I'm a consumer, so I think I have the right to tell an artist what I like and what I don't like.
Yeah, just don't buy their movie. That's all you got to do. You can't tell them not to do what they got to do, bro. It's an artist. They have the right to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, but when we're talking about a medium like movies, where it is very much based on what consumers want.
Yeah, you vote with your wallet, bud.
Exactly.
Just don't buy the movie.
They're like, oh well, why? I saw your movie, but I didn't feel the need to buy it on Blu-ray, and I'm a guy that buys everything on Blu-ray, well, because I didn't really enjoy it that much.
Exactly. Yep.
It is what it is.
Anyways, yeah, but I think most movies should go back to an hour and 30 minutes max.
I there's nothing wrong, absolutely, with the 90-minute format. Most of the movies growing up when I was a kid were 90 minutes. 90 to 90 to 110 was like the sweet spot. And you don't really need much more than that. I mean, that's kind of what it is.
I mean, Animal House, an hour and 30 minutes?
Yeah, 90 minutes. 90 minutes. Anyways, so definitely check out part 3. Yeah. If you got some friends, split it with your friends. It'll make it cheaper. But it's definitely a very enjoyable film. It's lighthearted. It's fun. Yeah, it's a bit predictable, but that's not always a bad thing. And I think before we end the show, we're gonna bring back a little something that we did last week. And this time, I actually. The person that I ordered my stuff from, he sent me a little surprise that I did not order, and I went, "Oh wow, that is so fitting for this week's episode." And
whoa, what intern
Gus,
was that?
If you can bring that up.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. So we have a pack of Bill and Ted's most atypical movie cards. And I'm guessing this guy's got like a bunch of these. Because again, I did not order this. He just kind of sent this among my
that dude knows marketing. That dude knows marketing.
Yeah, bro. He's like, hey man, I gotta get rid of these somehow.
Movie just came out.
I'm gonna send you a pack. And so we're gonna rip into these here. Because we did Marvel last week, but not what? Damn.
Guys, I've been jamming to fucking Alanis Morissette all day. I feel like a goddamn lesbian.
All right, Billy.
Come on, bro.
So
I don't care.
Right off the bat, Pedro.
Yeah.
There your boy's at. You see, yeah, he's wearing like a band shirt. Right?
There's the vest, yeah. I for some reason I thought it was a happy face. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
It's
might be in the sequel. And these cards are from both from the first 2 movies. And we got a little Socrates and Freud and Billy the Kid.
There you go.
Oh, these are just
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. We got Bill and I want to say Joanna.
Joanna got some nice curly hair. I'm about that life.
So the back is Bill and Ted simultaneously ask, "Will you marry us?" On the back, it's got Ted and Elizabeth. I think is her name. Oh wait, so there's a different image on the back of the cards?
I'm coming to meet you, Elizabeth.
There you go. There's Napoleon at Waterloo.
Waterloo.
And there's Ted's dad on the back of this one. All right, cool. I hadn't seen these cards before, so I didn't know there was stuff on the back of them that was different. Bogus Journey there. We got a little Bill and Ted action going. There's our bad guy.
Ew.
Got a nice little shot here of the bad guy in the phone booth.
So in the third one, do they still use phone booths, or are they using cell phones now?
No, of course they use a phone booth. Bill and Ted holding the heads of evil Bill and Ted.
Ooh. That's scary.
Oh, right. You got to talk to God. Every rose has its thorn. Oh, station! Napoleon explains his plan of attack. And Beethoven.
Nice.
Yo, Gus.
Dude, we gotta build good robot us's.
Robot buses. Yo, Gus, have you heard of a musician called Thundercat?
Yeah.
Okay, you know that song he's done? It's Dragon Ball Do-Rag.
I don't know. I can't say that I.
Oh my god! My friend showed me that song. I'm obsessed with it right now, man.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Check it out.
Check out the video.
All right.
And we did not win.
What? What do you say?
We did not win a bodacious trip to San Dimas, California,
Oh,
or some other non-bogus prize. I guess it was like an instant win game or something when this came out. So that's this week's edition of Show Us Your Deck.
All right. Hey.
I don't remember who. I don't remember who suggested that name for the segment.
It's a good
one. It's sticking around. I like it.
I think it was Mario.
Thank you, Mario. That is
should definitely post some of those deck pics up in there, bro.
There you go. Yeah. I couldn't think of another. I was like, is there
excellent.
I couldn't think. Like I was like, deck cam. Like no, there's no. Like it's you got to go deck picks, right? But yeah, it's a nice little thing. I am ready for next week's Show Us Your Deck. Let me give you a little sneak preview.
Yo, you gotta check out that fucking song, Gus. It's actually everybody go check out that fucking music video. It's funny as hell, bro. Homeboy's rocking all of it. He's wearing everything, bro. Everything. It doesn't matter what it is. He likes everything. He's wearing.
Wild Stallions.
And we're back. All right, so got a little. Give you guys a little sneak peek of what's coming in the future, and I actually have a few more things on the way.
Bro, R2-D2 was hiding the location of Luke Skywalker. All you had to do was unzip his head.
All you had to do was unzip his head. We got some WWF cards.
Boo!
Ooh.
WrestleMania collector's cards.
Okay. I like the Ultimate Warriors on the cover. That was my guy. That was my favorite.
We do have some Marvel Series 1 stuff, which
all right.
I don't know why the camera's interpreting yellow as green.
It's reflecting off of the monitor, bro.
I guess I better grab this one.
Whoa, turtles, bro!
Nice.
Yeah,
I can still tell it's a turtle.
Yeah, well, at least the turtle's green. So
yeah,
got some Silver Surfer cards.
Ah, dope. Ninja Turtles was one of the only things that I could draw accurately when I was younger. I sucked at drawing.
Same.
Got some old school 1991 WCW cards.
Bro, today I went to go pick up my poll list at Tate's. No, not Tate's. Fucking Corca. And yo, I did an impulse buy hard as fuck. There was a standee of Harley Quinn and Joker.
Today, Junior.
Today, Junior. And I was like, yo, how much is that? And he's like, $50. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. And now I have it, and I don't really want it. It was impulse as fuck.
Yeah. Pedro, I know you were probably into like weird art stuff and all that. Did you ever get these, the wacky packages?
No.
They're stickers of like basically parodies of like famous brands and stuff like that.
No.
And then
these are cards.
I got. There's a bunch of cards in here.
Oh shit!
And there's a bunch. I got some extra ones that aren't in here yet. Also, these aren't really cards, but I thought
did you already have all of those before you bought those?
No, dude. I got these. the internet's a wonderful place sometimes, man. And I did, the nice thing about it is some of this stuff, so much of this shit was made that like you don't break the bank doing.
Yeah.
So I these are, we got some nice stuff to look forward to in the future. Like I said, I got a couple more things on the way that I just ordered that should be here by the next episode.
If any of them have gum, you have to try it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
That was a bad idea in the 1980s when the gum was fresh.
Gotta try, bro.
There is a shop on Etsy called Don't Eat the Gum.
Nice.
I did not order from that shop because they're mostly sports cards, but they have a great name. Just Don't Eat the Gum. It's a great name.
That's awesome.
Oh man, that would even be a great segment.
You can actually there are some sellers that have that gum, because apparently back in the day they used to sell that gum, and like they would come in like a collector's package. It was just that gum, but I never liked that gum even when I was a kid. I was like, oh, this gum is weird.
Yeah, no thanks.
Anyways, we still haven't decided on how to select a winner on that Venom hologram that we unpacked last week. But I don't know. Maybe somebody might get these Bill and Ted cards too. So we'll see.
Yeah,
sounds good.
I'm keeping the WWE cards. I got enough of them that I might actually be able to collect the set because that's they weren't that expensive, and the guy only had like 4 sets left, and I was like, give me all 4 sets you got. There was only 150 cards in the set. Each pack brings 15 cards. So I think I like my chances. But we'll probably wind up giving away a lot of those cards and stuff like that. And if we get one of the sticker packages, there's a couple of sticker packages in there. Probably give away the stickers. So we'll see. Anyways, we don't know what next episode is going to be yet. But I do know that it is time. We are now approaching the end of the year. It is time to start selecting a topic for next March's tournament. So look out in the chat for that. Topics will be coming once we have a topic selected. Then it'll be time to start making brackets, and we want to make sure that the listeners are heard and that you guys are giving us that good feedback and good input. So I got nothing else for this episode. Gus, you got anything?
Nah, man. I think we're good.
All right. Follow us on all the social media platforms.
Every single one of them.
Good idea. That's a good idea, guys.
Pedro, you got anything else?
Because I got one hand in my pocket and the other one's flinging out cigarette.
There you go. Anyways, later, Sith heads.
Later.